Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 11th of July. Security in Indian Kashmir tightened following militant attack on pilgrims. High Peace Council in Afghanistan working on new strategy to bring Taliban to peace talks table. Meeting to forge consensus on constitution amendment fails in Nepal. And now for all the details. Security was beefed up in Indian Kashmir on Tuesday after 7 Hindu Amarnath pilgrims were killed in a militant attack in the valley on Monday. Condolences and condemnation also poured in from across the globe, including neighboring Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bhutan, as world leaders on Tuesday expressed anguish over the dastardly attack on innocent pilgrims.
Security was beefed up in Indian Kashmir on Tuesday after 7 people were killed and several others wounded when militants opened indiscriminate fire at a bus carrying Hindu pilgrims. The attack scene in Anantnag town had been cordoned off as a huge search operation has been launched to track down the attackers who escaped after the assault. The pilgrims were on their way back from the Amarnath shrine deep in the Himalayas when their bus was attacked.
All this is a matter of investigation. It is being investigated by the Jammu and Kashmir police, and soon we'll know how it all happened. The yatra is going on. We have not stopped the yatra, and we'll ensure that it goes on peacefully.
Undeterred by Monday's terror attack, over 3,000 pilgrims continued their journey to the cave shrine amid tight security during wee hours of Tuesday.
मनोबल हम लोगों का कम नहीं हो रहा है और बढ़ रहा है और हम लोग यात्रा में जा रहे हैं. हम लोग मनोबल कभी आतंकवादी कुछ भी कर लें मगर बाबा भोलेनाथ दर्शन करेंगे करते रहेंगे और बहुत लोग आ रहे हैं और जाते रहेंगे.
Meanwhile, the bodies of the 7 pilgrims were on Tuesday brought to Surat city of Western Gujarat province along with the injured persons and their family members in an Indian Air Force plane. The Gujarat government has announced a compensation of more than $15,000 for the family of each of the deceased and about $3,000 each to the injured.
Moving on, Indian Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar on Tuesday expressed confidence in India's handling of the situation in Doklam Plateau with China. While delivering a lecture to mark the 25th anniversary of India-ASEAN relationship in Singapore, he said that both the countries have handled such border issues in the past.
India's Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar on Tuesday said India and China have handled border issues in the past and there was no reason the two countries will not be able to handle them this time. Jaishankar was responding to questions on the standoff between Indian and Chinese troops in the Doklam area of the Sikkim sector at a lecture on India-ASEAN and the changing geopolitics in Singapore. He also cautioned that skewing the analysis of this debate in the direction of one could mislead at the expense of the other.
It is likely from time to time that there are differences. I think it's not the first time that has happened. And when such situations arise, in many ways, how we handle it, as I pointed out in my remarks, is a test of our maturity. I see no reason why, having handled so many situations in the past, we would not be able to handle this one.
Beijing and New Delhi have been engaged in a standoff in the Doklam area near the Bhutan Tri-Junction over 3 weeks in what is said to be the longest such impasse between the two armies since 1962 war. The standoff arose after Chinese army attempted to build a road in the area.
Meanwhile, rapid melting of glaciers in Gilgit-Baltistan has become a cause of worry among the locals. Rising water levels in the rivers flowing through the region has posed a threat to life and property in the region.
With the increase in temperature, the glaciers in Gilgit-Baltistan have started melting, resulting in significant rise in the water levels of rivers and streams. As a result, the threat of floods looms large in the region and has created panic among the people.
गिलगित बल्तिस्तान का जो ग्लेशियर्स है, बिलखुसूस जो हिमालयन रेंज का ग्लेशियर्स है, वो उनकी मल्टिंग का जो सिलसिला है वो बहुत तेज़ी के साथ जारी है और ये आहिस्ता आहिस्ता जो मल्टिंग जो है वो कराक्रम रेंज के अंदर भी, जो कराक्रम का रेंज है उसके अंदर भी हो रही है और इसकी वजह से जो ख़ासकर हमारा जो हिंदुकश के जो सिलसिले गिलगित बल्तिस्तान में मिलते हैं उनके दरियाओं के अंदर, जिसमें गिज़र का दरिया है या हुंजा और नेगर के जो दरिया है, इसमें भी पानी की सतह गुज़िश्ता 30 सालों के दरमियान मुसलसल जो है वो बढ़ रही है।
Gilgit-Baltistan has the largest concentration of glaciers with the three great mountain ranges of Karakoram, Himalayas and Hindu Kush. Over the years, rapid melting due to global warming has disturbed the ecology of the region, posing a threat to the lives and property of the people. Gilgit-Baltistan, which has been under Pakistan's illegal control for more than 6 decades, faces a number of issues affecting the lives and economy of the people.
Moving on to news from Afghanistan. The Afghanistan High Peace Council said that it was working on a new peace talk strategy aimed at bringing the Taliban to the peace talks table.
The new High Peace Council, or HPC leadership in Afghanistan, convened their first meeting and discussed the new strategy on Monday. The council said that it was working on a new peace talk strategy aimed at bringing the Taliban to the peace talks table. The council officials said the HPC was ready to listen to the Taliban's views and recommendations, and in the event of these being in the nation's interests, the council would take their points into consideration.
باید دید از اونا را مطالعه نماییم مخواستشان و با احترام گذاشتن به دیدگاهشان، با قبولی یک سری نظریات سالم و ملیشان ما باید پروسه صلح را تعقیب کنیم.
د ټولو هغو عواملو له منځه وړلو لپاره به د سولې عالي شورا کار کوي چې هغه په ولایاتو ولسوالیو کې د جنگ او نامنۍ سبب شوي دي.
The HPC was established on 5th September 2010 by former President Hamid Karzai. Albeit formed to work on bringing anti-government militant groups to the peace talks table, a number of lawmakers and activists have said that since its establishment, the council has failed to make any breakthrough in bringing peace to the country.
More news from Afghanistan. Born in a refugee camp in Afghanistan at the end of the Soviet War, an Afghan-American woman who emigrated to the US with her family is breaking barriers. She became the first certified civilian female pilot from Afghanistan and is on a solo flight around the world.
A 29-year-old Afghan-American female pilot, Shaista Weiss, arrived in Kabul on Monday as part of her historic around-the-world solo flight. She boarded a commercial flight to Kabul as her own plane is not suited to fly over such mountainous terrain. On her arrival at the international airport in Kabul, Weiss received a warm welcome from a number of Kabul residents and civil society activists.
دیر خوشحال یم سلطه راغلی دیر وقت سوی ده دما دغه سفر شروع میکره و یو دو میاست مخکې دما فکر که اوس لخیر سر افغانستان ته دیر غواړم لاړ سم.
Her solo flight kicked off in Florida in the US 2 months ago, and by the time she completes the journey in August, Weiss would have made 30 stops in 19 countries on 5 different continents. According to Weiss, the aim of her solo flight is to share and promote the importance of science, technology, engineering and mathematics or STEM education, especially to girls. Once complete, Weiss will become the youngest woman to ever complete such a flight. The next leg of her flight will take her from Dubai to India and then on to remaining 8 countries before she returns home.
Moving on to news from Nepal. The meeting between the top leaders of Nepal's major political parties, including the main opposition CPN-UML, failed to forge consensus over the issue of constitution amendment. The constitution amendment proposal will now be acted upon only after the 3rd round of local level elections. The required 2/3 majority in the parliament is unlikely to be achieved, causing the failure. the ruling coalition Nepali Congress and CPN-Maoist Centre would reach to a conclusion after holding further discussion with the agitating Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal over the issue. This followed after the CPN-UML asked the government to forward the Constitution Amendment Bill only after the third round of local elections scheduled to be held in September 18. Moving on, in India's northeastern Nagaland province, people recently celebrated a festival to mark the beginning of the season of abundant crops known as Tuluni Festival. Clad in their traditional attire, the tribals sang and danced to mark the occasion.
The Sumi tribe of India's northeastern Nagaland province recently celebrated the traditional Tuluni festival to mark the end of the dry season and beginning of new fruits. Originally celebrated for 7 days, the Tuluni festival is celebrated to rejoice the most abundant and fruitful season of the year in Nagaland. The festival was celebrated with pomp and grandeur in capital city Dimapur. The festival was marked by prayers and offerings to the deity of fruitfulness who gives life and protection to the crops.
This is from time immemorial, and this has been carrying on from generation to generation. So our youth should continue to uphold the traditions and customs of our forefathers.
Clad in their colourful traditional attire, the participants sang folk songs and performed dance. A theatre performance was also given by the youth. The Tuluni festival symbolizes fraternity, solidarity, sharing and oneness not only among the Sumi community but the Nagas as a whole.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. Security in Indian Kashmir tightened following militant attack on pilgrims. High Peace Council in Afghanistan working on new strategy to bring Taliban to peace talks table. Meeting to forge consensus on Constitution Amendment fails in Nepal. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.